All right. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Chester City Chester City Planning Commission meeting for May 13th, 2026. It is now 2 o'clock. Can I get called to order of the roll call, please?
Susan Dennis,
Present.
Leola Williams,
Here.
Eartha Banks,
Present.
Shirlene Laws,
Present.
Annette Pyatt, Dave Collins.
And is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? If anybody has any comments, please step forward and give your name and your address. Seeing none, we will move on to approval of the April 8th, 2026 minute meetings.
Madam Chair, first, if I move that they be accepted with one note that I will add after it's seconded. Can you hear me? No. Oh, sorry. I move that the minutes be accepted with one note I will add after everything is passed.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and your exception or amendment would be?
Okay, my exception is that we are careful what we say to people, and I'll have to direct this to Mr. Engineer. Yeah. It's something that was said last time to one of our young men, and luckily it didn't appear in the minutes, but I don't think you know you said it. And if you want to know what it is, I'll tell you later. It wasn't derogatory, but it's just a way for us not to be negative when we talk to our people coming forward. So I'll tell you what that is later. That's all.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add or change? Okay. Hearing none, then the motion carries. All right, I'd like to turn it over now to Mr. Fritz, the Director of Planning and
Okay.
Zoning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we see on our agenda, we have one old business item today. We should be familiar with this project. It's at 0 East 4th Street. The owner's Chester Donuts LLC, or the developer's Chester Donuts LLC. It's in the C2R General Commercial Residential Zoning District. And the development is for two fast food restaurants, one with a drive-through service and a parking lot with 30 parking spaces. I have some images just to go through. These are the same images that we've looked at in the past, but then I also have the updated drawings that the applicants can speak to, and I can quickly also go over. Just to rehash here, we're again in the C2R. We're next to the HIC where the state prison is. Harris Casino is to the south. Let me see if I can get my cursor working here. And 291 is running in front of the property. Here is an aerial image of the property that we're talking about. It's that green space along 291. Again, the prison's on the right, and the casino is beyond the tracks in the background. Here's a street view from 291. This is looking east, and you're looking down partly Hinkson Street, which is a dead end. It's really just one block right there. 291 on the left. Here's a view to the main entrance to Harrah's, and the site that we're talking about today is on the right. You see Harrah's entrance signs on the left and right, and then note the traffic signal that's at the intersection of Harrah's Boulevard and 291. This is a view northwest from Harrah's Boulevard. On the left is the site. It's actually quite screened right now from Harrah's Boulevard, and the traffic signal is in the background. Just to quickly go over the site plan and some of the images that are provided. Here is the site plan itself. you notice that we have the Dunkin' Donuts on the left, and then the to-be-named restaurant on the right. So it's a single building divided into two restaurants. The drive-through is on the frontage side of the building. The parking is on the rear side of the building. And then there's an entryway on the west off Hinkson. And then there's a two-way road that connects to Harris Boulevard. And I'd also note that the linden trees that are there today will remain with the site. The applicants provided a rendering of the site that we can come back to and refer to. I think one of the things you can see on this is some of the stormwater treatments, the detention basins. And obviously you can see the paving and where the building is. And actually, this is actually a good description of, or an illustration of the queuing lane for the drive-through, which again, the service or cashier is on the north side of the building or on the 291 side of the building. Another site plan, this is just literally a white line of the site plan on the existing aerial photograph of the proposal. We have the grading plan. Again, you can see the basins and the utility lines proposed. We have the landscaping plan. So there will be an additional landscaping in addition to the linden trees that are fronting 291. So there'll be other street trees, screening of the dumpster, shrubbery around the parking lot and the queuing lane for the drive-through, and plantings around the basins as well. We have a lighting plan that can be referred to if necessary, but most of the lights are cutoff lights, which are recommended and required by the city. And then we also have examples of the truck turning plans that were part of the package. I've also included, I would say, a more recent example of the architecture for the building. This is strictly really showing the Dunkin' Donuts half of the building. You can see it's a typical branding of Dunkin' Donuts, but we can come back to this if the Planning Commission would like to or the applicant would like to. As far as the Planning and Zoning Department's review, we had a review back in December. This is the last time we looked at the drawing set in a previous submission. And in general, we had no major comments related to zoning. Most of them were technical, and most of them were related to engineering review. And what I would do now is ask that the applicant come up and speak to the plan and address any of the comments that they've received. And of course, introduce yourself when you come up to speak. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's David Shafkowitz. I'm counsel for the applicant today, Chester Donuts LLC, which is under a lease agreement with Harrah's to construct what has been proposed and how great it looks on that rendering up there. I think Mr. Fritz had essentially went through all the details with regard to the project. The site is about 1.75 acres. The building that's being proposed is going to be about 4,100 square feet. Two uses are going to be proposed. We know for sure one is going to be the Dunkin' Donuts. The other one will be about a 1,900 square foot, probably more in the neighborhood of a quick service type restaurant. Should have some sit down, but all that was kind of calculated in when we did the parking, so we have compliant parking. We have the drive-through lane, which essentially is only going to be used for Dunkin'. The other user will not be drive-through. Hopefully either sit down or takeout only, or not. Hopefully will be only sit down or takeout. There is a bypass lane also proposed with regard to the drive-through. The drive-through is set up right now with an 11-car stack. The pay window is actually on the Hinkson side of the building, so it gives about 9 or 10 cars that can back up to that window. The other details is, we have a proposed loading area. We have the proposed trash removal area. We are proposing crosswalks along both to connect to the sidewalk on Hinkson and the sidewalk on Harrah's, which would then provide an access, pedestrian access to the sidewalks on 291. think there's sidewalks on 291.
There are.
The one issue that we were mentioning that is in the review letter that we got a couple weeks ago from Colliers, talked about milling and overlaying both Hickson and I think a portion of Harris. In speaking with my client, we have no objection to doing the mill and overlay on Hickson from 291 to its dead end. And then on Harris, I think it was asked that we do a half width. But since we're going to be out there anyway, if it's okay for the board to, say we're happy with the half width, we're still going to ask Harris because we'll be out there. Do you want us just to do it all?
All at
The
one
whole
time.
thing, yeah, because why have their main entrance look uneven? So, we suspect that Harris will say, yeah, just do the whole thing. So I don't want to make that an issue for the board's review. As we otherwise noted, the application is compliant from a bulk and area standpoint, no setback variances, no impervious cover variances. A lot of detail went into working on the stormwater management. Thanks to Mr. Madison and our engineer, Jeff Brown, who's here with us. They've seemed to come to a conclusion about how to design it, and seemingly everything works on that front. So any of the comments that Mr. Madison had mentioned also in his letter with regard to stormwater management will comply. We'll address all those. Everything else that was in the review letter, we generally have no problems with. The one item we did want to talk to the board about, and I have with me today, is Dave Horner, our traffic engineer, is when we left our last meeting, I know it was several months ago, but we were under the impression that the board had suggested that we need to know what's going on from a traffic standpoint. Give me some kind of trip generation analysis of what's going to happen. We weren't under the understanding that a full traffic study was going to be necessary. So what I would like to do is have Dave explain, if the board's inclined, a little about what he did so you can be comfortable about what the traffic situation would be, what it is. This particular operator or owner, who will be operator of this Dunkin', is an operator of about 30 to 40 other Dunkins. So we know from the perspective in terms of the internal stacking, the internal drive-through, the internal circulation, we know we have sufficient. We have more than sufficient. And the beauty of this particular site, because we're not taking access directly to 291, we're lucky enough to have Harris and Hinkson, that we have all this internal area too, that if we get really lucky and the project is overly successful, we have more than enough room interior in the site to stack probably another 10 cars. Granted, we don't ever expect that. And all the Dunkin' Donuts projects that I've been involved in, with the Dunkin' Donuts that Mr. Patel owns as part of his portfolio, 6 to 8 cars is usually the max, even on the busiest days. So, and that's something that Mr. Horner will talk a little bit more about. So I know you have other agenda items and to talk about, so I don't want to spend all the time, but if it's okay,
Sure.
Madam Chair, I'll bring up
Just
Mr.
come up,
Horner,
state your name.
and he'll bore you with some good traffic stuff. So.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
My name is Dave Horner with Horner and Cantor Associates. I prepared the traffic impact assessment for this project. So just to be brief, and I know it was submitted with the package and it's reviewed by your engineer. So I think that the main things that we touched on in that traffic impact assessment had to do with what's the trip generation, traffic levels that this development would generate, and that includes both the Dunkin' Donuts and the quick service restaurant. So in terms of that, and we had a table in the report, but I think the thing of particular note is that for these types of restaurants, a lot of the traffic, majority of the traffic is what they call pass-by traffic. I'm sure this board's familiar with that term, but for those that aren't, that's traffic that, let's say you're traveling in the morning to work on 291, you decide I want to get coffee or a donut or something, you'll turn in, stop at the Dunkin' Donuts, and then go carry it your way. In other words, you're not new traffic to the area. You were just stopping at this store on your way on another trip. So, so in terms of the trips, we showed that there'd be about, in the morning peak hour in particular, would be the highest generated for the Dunkin' Donuts. In terms of new trips, there'd be about 60 new trips. That's about half in and half out, 30 in, 30 out. The other peak hours are similar, a little bit less than the afternoon peak. In terms of the access, the other thing we looked at, so as Dave mentioned, so there's no access to 291. We have the benefit of having the main access, a two-way access out to Harris Boulevard, which goes right to a traffic signal. then that's important because the exiting traffic can then safely exit onto 291 in either direction without having to worry about a stop sign or worry about gaps in traffic. There's also an inbound off of Hingston as well. And the other thing we looked at was the drive-through. That's always a question. And as Dave mentioned, there's about 9 or 10 stacking spaces from the window back before you get into, we'll say, the main aisle of the Dunkin' Donuts. What our studies have shown, and this is based on the wealth of information that Mr. Patel has from his other stores, and it has to do with how many people are using the drive-through as opposed to parking and going in. There's ratios about that, and what transaction times there are at the drive-through. Bottom line is what we found was during the busiest time, generally you're going to have no more than 6 cars backed up. When I say generally, there's a 95th percentile ratio that we look at. So that means that 5% of the time in the peak hour, there might be more than 6, but we don't expect really except on a rare occasion, there'll be more than 8 or 9 or 10 in that stacking lane. And if there is, you'd have to stack several more vehicles to even get out to Harrah's or to Hingston. So everything is self-contained. We feel very confident that that stacking will not have an impact on any of the surrounding roadways. And one more thing to say, with regard to the request for additional traffic information, because this doesn't have access to 291, and because the infrastructure on 291 is basically there, I mean, it's a fully built-out road with a traffic signal at Harrah's Boulevard, I can tell you that the impact of this site on that, it will not generate improvements. I think the access is appropriate. I don't know that a more detailed study of that existing infrastructure is really going to tell us anything. Defer to the Planning Commission on that, but I think what we provided hopefully will give you the comfort that you need with regard to the traffic and the drive-through and the access. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I have one. The other proposed restaurant, will that be in operation, in operation at the same time Dunkin' is open?
It will, but it won't be a drive-through use. So they're not
Right.
sharing a drive-through. Dunkin' is a drive-through.
But there'll be traffic. We took in consideration all the parking that's required
Yes.
for both restaurants.
Yeah, our traffic
Initially
impact
did the
assessment
design.
looked at both, I'm sorry to cut you off.
It did?
Looked at both restaurants together. We didn't just look at the Dunkin' Donuts, we looked at everything.
Anybody else with any questions?
Okay.
Before,
Yes, I have a question. As far as the traffic light, where's that, Harris Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay, the walking traffic, I guess walk-in, walk-off traffic, would that be a problem as far as people possibly crossing that busy 291?
So what this site is providing is a sidewalk connection internally, as you can see on the graphic, to tie into the existing pedestrian network that's along Harrah's. So whatever the existing condition is, and I don't recall what the pedestrian accommodations are at that signal, but that is the safe crossing as opposed to crossing anywhere else on 291. So we're tying into the existing pedestrian network. So we're getting the pedestrians from our building or from the parking lot to Harris Boulevard.
And the reason I asked the question is because, with myself going through there, I see a lot of people, they live nearby, they walk, to the casino and possibly to the restaurant also, and I was wondering if there were any concerns there.
There is not from my perspective, no. Okay. If there's no other questions, I'll refer back
Not
to
at this hour.
Dave.
anybody have any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Ron, Mr. Madison, you,
Yeah, is it, Dave, are you done? Yep. Okay.
The only other thing I wanted to add, as I mentioned previously, if there was any items in Mr. Madison's letter that we didn't discuss, that's because we anticipate to comply with everything, so. But we just wanted to talk about that one issue and whether or not there really was a need to do a traffic study. So hope that helped.
Oh, I forgot one question. Your traffic study was based on what other locations? In close proximity to Chester's? Like in Brookhaven or out there off of 322?
I have to defer to the applicant, based on information from his 35, 40 other locations. I don't know exactly where they were and how close they are to Chester.
Curious.
Yeah, I mean, what I could offer is that Mr. Patel's network of stores traverse from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, and some going out west towards the central part of Pennsylvania. Some of the similar locations are ones that we would have in Ewing, Hamilton, Trenton area, which have those kind of, are on similar highways, similar traffic patterns, that we see that those types of stores generally are the 6 to 8 car stack. Some of the newer ones that we're developing now, like in Morrisville, those types of locations, we're having the same kind of design, 2,000 square foot store, 8 to 10, we design it for 8 to 10, thinking 6 to 8 is going to be more than enough. And it's a factor of Dunkin' requires from start to finish a 90-second turnaround. So if you hit the window, they want you out of our drive-through in 90 seconds. And it's interesting because one of the things I noticed as starting to do this work several years ago, you go to Dunkin' and you see the little timer at the drive-through window, and it's counting that actual time. And I happen to notice it and trying to see how many times they get to 90, maybe 100 seconds is usually where it plays out. So they do their best to try to get you in and out. And that's the goal, and that's what Dunkin' monitors, and that's why they're very comfortable with those.
So the two locations that I just mentioned, are they his stores as well?
Not in Brookhaven. What's your closest one? Philadelphia.
Yes, both, Conchester and Brookhaven.
Yeah, those are not our locations.
Okay.
So, do you want to do your thing?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Ron Madison, Colliers Engineering and Design. We received the resubmission application dated April 15th, 2026. We provided our engineering review letter addressed to the Planning Commission dated May 7th, 2026. The applicant's legal counsel has previously stated that they will comply with our letter. They will mill and overlay both Hinkson and Harris curb to curb. They have addressed the majority of the stormwater comments. The rest are just minor details at this point. They brought their traffic specialist to address our comments on the traffic study. Be happy to answer any questions the board has of our review letter.
I would like your comments on the traffic study that they furnished to you. What did you think of that?
Right. We received their traffic study. We had asked for it in previous months. This submission, they provided it. We provided on page 6 of 7 our traffic comments, that there are 6 of them. They basically are technical comments asking for more information to have the traffic study revised. They are welcome to do that if you're satisfied with the presentation by their traffic, the author of their traffic study. That's up to you how you want to make your motions. But generally, the unique situation here is that the long driveway from Harris provides stacking. Our main concern is the left-hand turn lane that exists at the intersection of 291. If that left-hand turn lane is fully filled with vehicles trying to make left-hand turn, vehicles won't be able to leave the site. So they'll just sit at the driveway waiting for the next cycle of lights to flush out the left-hand turn lane, and then they'll be able to leave the site and enter that left-hand turn lane. It is possible that, based on the information that was provided, that the left-hand turn lane at the traffic signal would stack up to the point where it would block the driveway. And then even if somebody wanted to head east on 291, they may not be able to leave the driveway to make that left-hand turn, to make the right turn on 291. But again, that would be, the cars would have to wait in the driveway of the restaurant, and you see how long that driveway is. Whether or not the revisions requested will address those concerns, I can't answer that.
Anybody else have any other comments?
I have a question.
Question?
Based on your comments, does that mean that,
Yeah, talking to you.
based on your comments earlier on the streets, does that mean the street waiver is off the table?
I would assume, since they did request a waiver for milling and overlay the 2 streets curb to curb, and since, based on the legal counsel's representation to you just a couple of minutes ago, I believe that's taken off their waiver request.
Okay, just want to confirm that. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a question. What is the purpose of the blanket easement? Yeah.
You want to?
What is the purpose of that? Thank you very much.
I think there were 2 items that were that were questioned about that could be handled through what's called a blanket easement. One is that we back up to the railroad tracks on the property. There's a retaining wall that I think the railroad company encroaches on Harrah's property in some respects. So we said, look, we're not going to get in the way of the railroad company coming in if they have to maintain it in any way, so we would provide on our plans whatever easements they would need to make sure that that wall can be repaired, have access to it. That was one thing. Second thing I think was about the greenway, right, Paul?
Yes.
It was the greenway, and then there was
Right.
a monitoring well, too, up in the corner.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll talk about the monitoring
Yeah.
wells too.
Yeah.
But the greenway was, again, to provide whatever would be necessary, but I think because there's existing sidewalk up there, the greenway is about walking trails and stuff.
It will be a separated trail that parallels the sidewalk, theoretically. Yeah.
So we're happy to provide the easement should the time come where that trail would be put in, and we'll make sure Harrah's is okay with that. There was a couple things that were mentioned in the review letters, I guess in the environmental reports, that there is existing monitoring wells on the site. To the extent that they can be closed, they will be closed as part of this. If they need to be relocated, we'll relocate them. But I'm not exactly sure how much more monitoring is left, if any. But as far as we've been working on the site, we're unaware of any ongoing issues or any ongoing monitoring on the site. So my guess is that we'll be able to close them, and we'll do so to the extent that DEP has to be involved. We'll make sure that they monitor that as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, in terms of those 2 items, the monitoring wells, this was an old Act II site. It was an industrial site. I guess over 20 years ago, it was an industrial site. If the applicant can provide letters from DEP that the ongoing Act II environmental sampling of those monitoring wells has been terminated, then the existing monitoring wells should be grouted from the bottom up and decommissioned appropriately. If a letter is provided that those monitoring wells have to continue to be monitored, then they would have to be protected and provide access for that continued monitoring, and that could be a blanket access easement. In terms of the Northwest Greenway, there's a note on the plan. We don't believe that note's adequate for a reserving area for the Northwest Greenway. We'll probably, before we record, have the applicant provide a ultimate right-of-way easement along the existing right-of-way of PennDOT for 291, and then there would be recorded with the plans an ultimate right-of-way easement agreement, and that's how we would handle that.
And that's no problem.
Okay. And you said that's,
That's no problem.
oh, okay.
Agreed. Along with what was mentioned about the monitoring wells, because if Harrah's is doing anything further, we'll make sure we get that squared away.
Okay. All right, I think that covers every question I had. Does anybody else have anything else?
No.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
You're asking for a motion?
Okay. Yes, I do.
Madam Chair, are you asking for a motion?
Well, first, we would have to do the waivers.
Okay.
And as we just got confirmation, 3 would be eliminated because they're going to
Right.
do a favor. So the first one and the second.
So all the waivers.
Yep, the 2 waivers.
Okay. All right. Okay.
They're ready, I just, it's too much.
All right, can I get a motion on the waiver, number 1, the preliminary final waiver, the sidewalk waiver, number 2?
Number 1, Madam Chair, Lady, I move the Planning Commission recommend to City Council approval of the applicant's request for a waiver from Section 502A of the subdivision and land development ordinance to permit the application to be reviewed as a combined preliminary/final land development plan in lieu of a separate preliminary and final submission. The Planning Commission finds that strict enforcement of this provision is not necessary to meet the intent of the ordinance.
All right. So,
Did you want to do all of them?
yeah, we'll do the 2
All 3
together.
of them, okay. For the sidewalk waiver, I move the Planning Commission recommend to City Council approval of the applicant's request for a waiver from Section 1015A of the subdivision and land development ordinance, which requires the repair and replacement of existing sidewalks along the frontage of the property. The applicant proposes to limit sidewalk and curb improvements to areas directly impacted by the proposed development, including driveway entrances and ADA access improvements along Hinkson Street. The Planning Commission finds that strict enforcement of this provision is necessary to meet the intent of the
Is not.
necessary to meet the intent of the ordinance.
Okay. So, can we get a roll call on that?
No, you need someone.
Oh,
second.
sorry.
And we need a second first, but.
Second.
Second.
So are we doing them one at a time for the street? Because you just did street and then you did sidewalk, right?
What did she say?
We're going to do.
Do the first one.
First one at a time.
Can we do them one at a time?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Leola made the motion?
Motion.
Right.
Made the motion.
So for the sidewalk waiver, Ms. Susan Dennis,
Yes.
Leola Williams.
Yes.
Eartha Banks.
Yes.
Charlene Laws.
Yes.
Annette Pyatt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that motion carries.
Sidewalk.
Street.
No, streets is off.
Streets is off.
No, it's a preliminary final was the other one.
Okay. So for the sidewalk waiver, Susan Dennis,
Yes.
Leola Williams.
Yes.
Eartha Banks.
Yes.
Charlene Laws.
Yes.
And Annette Pyatt.
Yes.
All right,
Oh, I
motion
think
carries.
the other one was on the preliminary final submission.
The first one was a preliminary final.
The first one was
Okay,
the
that was
preliminary
good.
final
Okay,
waiver.
sorry about that.
Second was.
The second was a sidewalk
And the
waiver.
third one is off the table.
Third
And the
one's
third
up.
one is.
The third one is the streets that he
Yes.
commented on.
Okay, so since they're going to pay that, they've already said it, we don't need to even deal with that. Okay. All right. So that's it. So motion carries. All right. Okay, so can I get a motion for the application?
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval with conditions to City Council for the preliminary final development application for 701 East 4th Street, formerly 0 East 4th Street, proposing the development of 2 fast food restaurants, one with drive-through service, a 30-space parking lot, and associated site improvements, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, all comments outlined in the Collier's Engineering and Design Review Letter dated May 4, 2026, and the Planning and Zoning Department Review Letter, if applicable, shall be addressed to the satisfaction of the city's Planning and Zoning Department. Number 2, the applicant shall revise and supplement the traffic impact study to the satisfaction of the city engineer. Number 3, all required easements, agreements, and legal documents shall be reviewed and approved by the city solicitor. Number 4, the development improvement agreement and financial security agreement shall be reviewed and deemed satisfactory by the city solicitor.
And I want to interrupt, but based on the discussion that we had today, which will be recorded and in writing, I believe we've resolved that the traffic impact study does not have to be redone or supplemented. So in reality, number 2 there could be stricken from the approval.
Minus number 2.
Minus number 2.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, and can we get a roll call, please?
Susan Dennis,
Yes?
Leola Williams.
Yes.
Eartha Banks.
Yes.
Charlene Laws.
Yes.
Annette Pyatt.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you so much.
And I know that you've been here a million times, it seems like, but
I love coming here, so
Congratulations.
we're great. I appreciate it. It's great seeing everybody.
Thank you.
all right. So that's our old business. Now we're ready to move on to
That's your old business,
new
exactly.
business.
Yes. So we have 2 items in new business. One is a preliminary final application. The other one is a sketch plan, which is really just for discussion only. And we'll talk about the preliminary final land plan first. The plan title is David Dodge Chrysler Jeep. It's at 0 Keystone Road, which, if you're aware, is way up in the northwest corner of the city, right next to 95. It's in the LIC, Light Industrial Commercial Zoning District. The applicant is 322 Keystone LLC, and the proposal is the redevelopment of the site into a vehicle storage and repair facility, including a 16,800 square foot garage. Here's the zoning map. It shows you where the parcel or parcels are located, where the project site will be. Again, it's way up in the northwest corner of the city.
Can you put is that, you have the pointer on it?
Yeah, sorry, it's where this red star
Okay,
is, yes.
Because I was trying to match the
Oh, yeah, and
colors.
it's like you
I
got
was-
2 stars on
yeah,
there,
I was
you're
trying
right.
to match the colors with the areas.
Yep, yep.
It wasn't working for me.
That's okay. So the purple is the LIC, and then it gets surrounded by R3 on the other side of Highland. There's some C2R, and that's actually the school that's right there. And I'll have aerial photographs to show you. And then just so you're aware, Upper Chichester Township is on the other side of Keystone Road, essentially. So the garages that are on the other side of Keystone Road, which is like a limousine repair place and things like that, are in Upper Chichester Township. Here is an aerial photograph. So there's the school I mentioned. Here's Highland, crossing 95. Here's the existing auto dealership. Here's Township Line Road / West 15th Street. And then Keystone Road is this dead-end road which actually provides access to a construction company way back in the corner here, so we can go over that when we look at the parcel lines. And then it has an industrial character to it, no doubt. And currently on this property is basically parking, tractor trailers, vehicles, not necessarily related to exactly what's being proposed, which is really auto-related.
Well, thank you. I can better understand it now.
Can you? Good.
Because I taught there 36 years
Okay, okay.
in that spot.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, then you know it well.
William Penn Elementary School.
Here's some street view photos. So this is coming north on Keystone Road. On the left side is Upper Chichester Township. Here's the site. It's really behind these vehicles. You can see the billboard on the back that we'll get to in a second. This is really where the beginning of the site begins, and it's open, essentially. This is at the end of Keystone Road, looking back, I would say, east, maybe even northeast. Again, open land. This is really is more closely, this is an older photograph, so this is used today for parked vehicles and storage. It doesn't look like this where it's mostly lawn. It's mostly hard pavement or stone. And then just so you're aware, this is a billboard that faces 95. And this is what is called an extension of Keystone, but really it's an access way to a construction company that is way in the corner, which I'll get to in a second. And then this is just looking back west, I would say, across that property. Again, this is a dated photograph. It gives you an idea of the size of it. I have the images from the plan set that was brought to us. I don't have all the plans, but I have most of them on the PowerPoint here. So this is the site plan. You can see here's the 16,000 square foot plus garage. There'll be, our understanding, some auto repair related to the business. There'll be some storage of vehicles. That's why they have these parking spaces that are parked in tandem. And we'll let the applicant further explain what their business is, but we can get into that as part of the review. And then there's an entryway on two sides of Keystone. Actually, there's a double, both-way entrance here, and then on the north side, I think it's exit only onto Keystone Road. The hatching is the access way that I believe will be eased or provided an easement for access to this corner lot property. There's, you can see my pointer, that's where the existing construction company headquarters is. So they use this back road to get to it. I have an existing site condition. It's relatively flat. There is a peak in the middle of the property, but it slopes gently on either side. I have the technical drawings related to grading and stormwater, lighting. I think that's just another site plan. Oh, this is the truck movement on the site. And then I have an image of the proposed building. I believe this is facing west, so that would be the same direction that the billboard that we saw is facing. And you can tell they have a small sign, and they do meet our requirements for metal siding, so they're not tripping that requirement, which, again, I can go quickly through my letter and give you an update on that. Let me jump to that. So my letter to the Planning Commission is dated May 5th. And I went through the location of it, the site context of it, and I'm just going to highlight some of the comments that were in the letter. One, that this use, I'm on page 2, under comment B1, that this use, as proposed from our understanding, is allowed, and we're just hoping that the applicant today can just make sure and verify that vehicle storage will be temporary in nature and associated with service operations, and that no sales of vehicles will be on that property. Otherwise, it would be in a different category, like auto vehicle sales. I'm going to highlight that it meets all the dimensional requirements for the district. the LIC. And then I will skip down to page 3, B8, 9, and 10 that relate to parking. These are minor requests, but we would ask that the applicant just verify the width of the two-way driveway entrance. If it exceeds 30 feet, which we don't think it does, it would just be called out. So we just need a dimension on the drawing to confirm that it's less than 30 feet. Comment 9 is related to the planting strip that's along the roadway. Again, it's a minor detail, but we just want to make sure that in this narrow spot that they're meeting the requirement from the curb to the closest point of the parking, and it's 15 feet. We believe it is, but we'd like a dimension on the drawing. 16 relates to really fire safety and access around the building. The Fire Marshal Office did review this, and that was one of their comments. They just want to make sure that through an illustration and demonstration that a fire truck turning, maneuvering could access all sides of the building. I'm going to jump right to the Fire Marshal memo since we're on that topic. The other things that they had mentioned, which I believe was on your packet in a memo dated May 5th, is that the applicant should confirm that the proposed building will be equipped with an automatic fire suppression system, sprinkler system, that they can confirm the existing fire hydrant is located 300 feet within the building, within 300 feet of the building, and then that a Knox box will be required at the entry gate. And again, that's a requirement typically for gated commercial industrial areas where they provide a key that's accessible to the fire department. That's what they're called, Knox box. Moving on, we have our typical comment about dumpsters. That's at the bottom of page 3, comment B16. We would just like the applicant to provide some detailing of how the dumpster would be enclosed. And then lastly, jumping to the general comments under section C, I think it's worth talking about most of these. One is that there be a better explanation of the current situation with the property ownership and the lot lines. It's a little confusing, and I know there's some reasoning behind it. We just need some clarification on if the lots are already consolidated, if the parcels need to be removed because it's consolidated, or there's some other avenue going on. Because at this point, at the county level, and the parcel or the site looks like it's 2 parcels, and we just need confirmation on what the situation is. C2, we would like the applicant just to clarify the anticipated hours of operation, number of employees, expected vehicle activity, just so we have a better understanding what the operations will be on site. 3 is our pretty standard comment related to the several 0 addresses that we have in this city. This is a good time to actually update the address for the site, and I know the applicant's familiar. What we do is we end up assigning in an address from the city's point of view, and we've recommended an address here, and then they add that address to the recording documents, which helps the tax assessment department and others in the city. Talked about item 4, the Fire Marshal Office memo. The landscape plan was shared with the Shade Tree Commission. They have issued a memo. After this meeting, I'll be able to distribute it. I can briefly explain what they had asked of the applicant. There were 2 things that they mentioned, relatively minor. One was that I believe this is a plum tree, I believe, that's in alignment with the other gladitsias that are on here as street trees. And they were recommending that this actually become more of a street tree. So the use of a larger street tree-like tree in this corner instead of the plum tree that are along the access way in the north side of the site. I think that's a relatively smart idea, just so there's some continuity of the trees, and there should be space for that. The other comment was possibly removing one of these existing trees, which are, I think, relatively large. So there's one on each side of the dumpster. I believe there's room, even though there is an easement cutting through and under the dumpster. That's something that, as soon as the memo's issued, that could be discussed with the applicant, but I think it's kind of an easy lift if they want to accommodate. Just two more things. One is that the Delaware County Planning Commission still needs to review this project. We should be hearing from them in about a week after their next meeting. And then lastly, from a zoning perspective and planning zoning department view, this does meet all the zoning requirements that we typically have. We have minor manageable comments, and they mostly relate to parking, the circulation design, the landscaping that we just discussed, and fire access. Does anybody have any questions from my memo?
Not a question. Can you show that slide that shows exactly where it is? I mean, the aerial view?
The area view, yep.
Yes. Can you show that again? From the top.
Right there.
Okay, and so, okay. All right.
Essentially, that garage will be right in the middle, right? And then the parking that they're proposing is literally surrounding the site.
Well, point to Murphy Ford.
That's it right there.
It's right here.
Okay,
Right.
Change the name.
Yeah, I think it's Brenneman Ford now, but,
okay.
right.
We still call it.
Yeah, we
That's why
all
you
say it's Murphy, yeah.
Change the name.
Okay, I just want to see the whole configuration.
Yeah, that's right. So Highlands here, right? And then 95 is on the,
Okay.
right here.
Right now, it's a graveyard for old stuff.
Yeah.
It basically is. It's basically a random storage yard, right? So this would be,
This is
in our mind, like a cleanup of it and an improvement.
Yeah. I just want to see.
Okay, that's good. I mean, if there's no other further questions, then I have the applicant come up and.
Good afternoon, planning commissioners. I'm Robert W. Scott. I'm the attorney for the project, attorney ID number 59329. I'm just going to introduce our team. I have Bob Lynn and Steve Lynn, who are the design professionals on this plan, and Mr. David Kelleher and Leah Kordek. Mr. Kelleher is the owner of 322 Keystone LLC, and Ms. Kordek is the controller. I'm going to ask Mr. Kelleher to come up and talk about the use and to confirm that the parking the nature of the parking they're going to have on this, that it is related to, it's not permanent parking, and that there are no sales will be conducted from the property, and to provide whatever information you desire.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dave Kelleher. I own David Dodge in Glen Mills, and this project is, we have 18,000 vehicles in service right now. The National Automobile Association says I should have 42 service bays. I have 15. So our waits get to 10 or 11 days. This will not be a customer-facing showroom, but the customer-facing shop. But what this will do is take new car preparation, used car preparation, and commercial work to here. And the commercial work is going to be dropped at David Dodge in Glen Mills and brought down to here. So there won't be any customers in transit on this lot. So as I spoke, used cars are going to, when they're prepared, they're going to be moving up to the main lot, as is new cars will be moving up to the main lot or two of our storage lots that we have up towards the dealership. So it's going to be a rotating, but it won't create a lot of traffic because, you know, you're talking about 8-10 cars a day will be moving. So most of the traffic will be just what I anticipate to be 25 to 35 employees that we're going to have there. But what really I'm excited about is we're going to train people here. I've already talked to City Team Ministries, which I have a close relationship with. I went down and gave a couple coats away in 2006 and just fell in love with, to be honest with you, fell in love with the city of Chester. And I don't mean to throw a lot of heartstrings on you, but I when I met the kids, met the parents, I've amplified my involvement here in Chester. So we've talked to them about their men's and women's dormitories and being able to train people from there. And we will only accept a candidate from Delaware County. So it benefits me because I'm getting great technicians that we can train to come in and grow up the ladder and become better technicians. So this is a really exciting project for us. And right now I have a 12-day wait time, 10 to 12-day wait time to get into my shop. We anticipate that all the Glen Mills location will be is all customer pay now. So all the customers, it'll consolidate down to 4 or 5 day wait, which is really the big help for them. Because we have to prep used cars and new cars in the main facility. So yeah, this is an exciting project for me. Not only because of the added service work, but because it's, to be honest with you, because it's in Chester. And we get to do some really good stuff here and give people that are trying to get going. I mean, these jobs are like, I mean, technicians can make $50,000 to $100,000 a year. It's really exciting. So, huh? You guys want to go? I'll train you guys too. So, any other questions for me?
I have one. Are we going to integrate the school district?
Pardon me?
Are you going to integrate the school district auto body shop program in this initiative?
I would love to do that. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but
It was one of their big things to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to take a look. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would love it. So, I mean, this lot right now, if you were to drive by it,
I do every day.
it's not a good looking
every
deal.
day.
This is going to be a beautiful building with beautiful landscape around it, and beautiful. It's going to be a really nice place, but nobody's going to see it because, yeah. So.
Transportation between this facility or Chatsworth, that's going to be your employees doing that.
It's all employees, yeah. It's going to be all of our employees. Yeah, there will not be a customer that ever comes to this location.
Okay.
All right. All right. Anyone, any other questions? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
You get a whole parade of us coming today.
Okay.
I know most of you, but I'm Bob Lynn. Now, here's a better aerial for you. You were asking about visual. I think that really gives it to you. Thank you. Mr. Fritz's is in there.
Okay. Thank you.
We're looking at the aerial presentation. I mean, I see the little yellow, I guess, are school buses or something.
Yes.
It's a site right behind the school buses.
I know where it's at.
That's very far. That's its far. Mr. Collins. Would you like one?
If you got an extra, I'll take it, sure.
Free aerial, and I'm gonna
Awesome.
go in the front
Oh,
as
thank you.
well, so he gets a free aerial.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Take a little pen right here.
So
I know a
state
lot.
your name again and
I'm going to do the
address
whole
for-
thing.
Thank you.
So the name is per the card in front of you. I'm Bob Lynn. I'm the principal of Lynn Architects. Your neighbor immediately to the north. I appreciate your role because I'm 31 years on another Providence Township Planning Commission. I'm still serving. So I appreciate your time. I know how much effort it takes seriously to get out there, look at the site, understand it, try to understand us rambling on this end and,
Right.
devote your time to it. So it's a very important mission because you can't complain if you don't contribute and participate. That's always been my philosophy. So I think Mr. Fritz seriously did a very good job describing it. Mr. Keller is incredibly modest when he talks about his relationship with City Team. We make a few phone calls. He's the guy that donates, hundreds of jackets every year. He's been with them 12 years, food, everything else. He really believes. He's passionate about it. He drives me crazy sometimes how passionate he is, but he really has been a participant in many things Chester for a long time now. So, anybody can come in here and speak about it, but you check a decade's record, it speaks volumes, I think. So check him out with City Team and a few other organizations he's worked with. And Leah, his controller, sitting right next to him, is a phenomenal lady as well. She's very involved with a lot of things. Very successful business, too successful for her current location, needs this expansion to survive. And don't forget, when you get a new car, a lot of them come off the auto train. You have to service it, get it ready here for a customer, take it out to Concord Township, to Chadds Ford. He likes to think he's in Concord, not Chadds Ford, but he's in Chadds Ford by one property. And then you get a car and trade-in, you bring it back to this facility, service it for sale. I mean, so it's a really wonderful, got a guy busy driving, that's what happens. And that's really the only traffic we're talking about, his employees and his staff at this location. I think you were going to assign an address on this one as well, 1507 Keystone Road in Mr. Fritz's memo. That's fine. It's another zero property. It is 2.34 acres. You don't have the site plan by chance, do you? If you don't mind. And I don't think my pointer works on it, but there's no magic to the site plan. The secret is to get good circulation around the building, and get a building with a lot of service bays. Exterior doors, you notice on the far right-hand side, there is an exterior door. That's the typical center-loaded drive-in aisle, so you drive down there and you can peel off right or left into the mechanic space. The easement's interesting. There is a billboard on it. The billboard's actually owned by, David's going to be a tenant. His father-in-law is the owner of the property for the last 12 years, and he's sitting next to Mr. Keller here. The billboard's owned by his father-in-law, so there is no lease. But you can see the little crosshatched area is actually an access path back to the billboard as well as to the construction company in the back. And I'm still listing that on here. Mr. Fritz is Moore Brothers Construction. That's what I have it on here. And the properties across the street, the center line of Keystone is Upper Chichester. So we are on this side of the line. And we have 346 feet of frontage on it. In response quickly to a few of your comments, and I'd like to talk about a few, and then maybe some waiver requests. The driveway is less than 30 feet. The exit driveway is less than 30. It is 15 feet on the landscape piece. So they're all acknowledgement of your concerns or comments, if you will, per your letter. We have businesses listed here. This is really an industrial area. I've got Rob's Auto below us, and I've got across the street in Upper Chichester, Goodyear Tire and Service, Ace Limousine, and Mike's Foreign and Domestic Auto Repair, and then the Sunoco station on the Corridor Township line. So it is very much an LI district, one of the little pockets in the municipality. I don't have a lot of other pieces on my letter. At some point, I'm not sure where I would fit into the equation with Mr. Mattson. We do have some waiver requests, and we did produce a waiver request later, but it was yesterday. And I have a copy of it if you'd like to see it. It's in writing, our waiver request. Mr. Mattson saying, I cannot give you my waiver request letter. Okay. Okay. Can we talk about the waivers? The waivers that are
Sure.
Fantastic. I knew I came for a reason. The typical waivers we're discussing, we would like to see a preliminary/final application be accepted. There was a request for widening of the roadway and paving the roadway. We will widen and pave the side on our side of the line between Upper Chichester and the City of Chester, so we'll do the City of Chester side of the line. We are putting in curbs, so there's no waiver requested. You oftentimes hear that. We don't see the sidewalks having a lot of merit because they're sidewalks to nowhere. I mean, we basically run into the embankment of I-95, so we'd like to ask for a waiver for sidewalks. They're the typical waivers you will see in the requests. Beyond that, I could talk about anything you'd like or answer questions. Or, I'm not sure, is Mr. Mattson going to present his review letter, or how does your forum work?
That's typical. The only question I have is if Bob or somebody could just explain the situation with the parcel boundaries
Oh,
on the
absolutely,
county.
absolutely, Paul.
If
Fantastic,
it's
sure,
possible.
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Back 12 years ago, when the parcel was purchased, and they purchased from the Pileggi family, there's a lot of them around, as you know. Mr. Pileggi was a mayor here for a long time. There were two separate parcels of land side by side with two folio numbers. It was purchased as one deed around both folios, but it looks like they never extinguished the second folio or subdivided the land officially. So the two parcels of land on the main parcel, and that's 2.34 acres of land, have to be cleared up with the county's recorder of deeds and clarified that indeed it is really a single piece of land as it's being used under one deed. It's currently sold as one deed, but for some reason, 12 years ago, no one eliminated the folio, the second folio number. So we'll take care of that. Does that explain it adequately? Yeah. That's about, I mean, I could answer questions, I could discuss responses, or I could sit back down again.
I just have one question.
Yes.
When the cars come in, you know, the long car carriers, is that what will be bringing cars in?
I do not believe so. Let me confirm it. Good.
Yes. We do plan to have new car deliveries here. So, and most of them will be coming from that lot right across 95. And they're going to love it because it's a short trip. But they'll be coming in, and we purposely set the lot
Is there a way for you to show that?
for drawing.
Can we mark that?
Uh,
you know?
Yeah.
She's trying to see the
I'm
route.
visual.
She wants to see the truck route
No, on that,
Yeah.
one,
onto the lot.
Yes.
yeah, the one the picture you had up.
So our intent is that they come in from the first entrance, and they'll drop the cars right there. And that whole section there on the left is going to be new cars, and the section on the right of parking is going to be used cars. So our intent is they'll drop the cars there, and then they'll be prepped in the shop, and then come out. So you can see the turn of them coming in and out.
Okay. I wanted him to see it on this because it's a real vision of where it would be coming in.
Yeah. By the way,
The
that's
picture he
modeled
had
for,
up
and your
before.
engineer will know
The
that,
picture
that's
he
a
had up
W,
before. I
that's a
wanna see where it's
WB62 is what we did.
Coming in there from where?
They'll be coming in from here,
Okay,
and then coming in here.
I'm going to do this.
okay, okay,
Oh, and then loop back around.
okay.
So that's a WB62, which is a large vehicle, a very large truck. I'm just going to go, I just do an arrow with I asked them, can you see my little blue arrow in there?
Yeah,
So they're going to be coming up Keystone Road, swinging in at the angle, dropping off, and then going back out.
okay, thank you. Yeah.
No, we're fine.
It's really, they're very quick. And that's what this models.
Okay.
So it's kind of, okay. Right now, there is a singular driveway on the site, and I added a second exit-only driveway, which you can see on the upper left corner, and that's where the arrows are. Keystone Road, forgive me, Keystone Road.
But at no time they will not be on Holland Avenue.
There's no reason to be.
That was why I wanted to see it.
Does that give you a better visual of that circulation pattern? I mean, they actually do fit all the way around, the larger trucks and the fire trucks fit all the way around the back of the building, but that's showing a circulation pattern more for any larger vehicle in the front.
Anybody have any more questions?
It's the only question left.
So if it does it for that, it will definitely do it for the fire truck.
Yes,
So
it will.
there shouldn't be, or any
And-
emergency vehicles that'll come. Okay.
It will. And that was one of the 4 comments in the fire marshal's letter, if you recall.
Right.
And by the way, the Knox box is not an issue. None of the other comments, it will be sprinkled. So none of the, will comply with the fire marshal's 4 comments on his review letter. And of course, I haven't seen the landscape review letter yet because I don't think it was issued, but it's probably going to be the nicest landscaped light industrial site you have in the whole city when I'm finished with it.
I don't know about that. Anybody else?
That was my only question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can cover any of those items. I was going to, but by the way, on the responses to Mr. Fritz's letter, I think this is kind of important, and this is something we were issued. I just summarized them really quickly. Can I grab me those, a couple of those other folders? There basically were 24 comments, and they're in 4 categories. The first were, and Stephen is going to hand this out to you quickly, there were 9 comments that are just, he's acknowledging plan compliance. And I identified B2, B4, B6, et cetera, what they were. And I like this D1 the best that says it's a nice plan that fits the site and is an improvement, this final comment. There were 4 that required an external agency review. And that includes things like the shade tree and the fire marshal. We do need an NPDES permit because we're disturbing more than 1 acre of soil. So we do have to go, that's an external agency, that's a multi-month approval with the Delaware County Soil Conservation District as regulated by DEP in the state. So that's anytime you disturb more than 1 acre. We know, we acknowledge we need that. So the next 4 comments, there you go, that's great. Am I handing them out? Just give me a moment. So they can quickly do this. The third comment were just general informational comments that Mr. Fritz was providing to us, which were all acknowledged. The last 7 of the 24 are ones that you were looking for discussion, clarity, or additional information. And starting out quickly, number B1 was more on the business operation. I think Mr. Keller's described this business operation. I've tried to fill in the pieces of what this is intended to do. We confirmed the driveway width of the openings. I told you they were less than 30 feet. Confirming the width of the landscape strip at the street, and that's where it's that last parking space. It's about 15.5 feet from the curb to the space itself. The fire truck turning template, we only show the template to the front, but we will enhance it to show the template around the building as well. Dumpster enclosure, we certainly are going to enclose our dumpster, and it's located, the little black blob on the 45-degree angle in the bottom right corner of the site is where the dumpster is being located, which is a good place to pick it. Thank you, Paul. Verify the existing lot parcel data. We discussed that we have 2 folio numbers and 1 deed, so we have to fix that. And information on the business operation. Hopefully that's kind of the same as B1, that's C2. And we tried to share with you our vision of how this facility will work. I mean, I'm excited to be part of it because it's such an improvement to the site. So that would be a summary, if you will, of the 4 categories of your zoning and planning review.
Okay.
I gave you one, didn't I?
Yep.
Okay. I'll be back in my seat if you need me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll call up Mr. Madison. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Ron Madison, Colliers Engineering Design. We received the initial submission package for this land development plan dated April 15th. We provided our engineering review letter dated May 7th. A couple of highlights real quick before I forget. We would recommend the dumpster location be relocated outside of the sewer easement. You don't want to construct something over top of a sanitary sewer. Our biggest concerns, I mean, it's a good project, good use of the property. Our largest concerns deal with stormwater management and the sanitary sewage. I did speak with Mr. Lynn prior to the meeting. He said he's had some initial discussions with Delcora. Delcora now believes they own that sanitary sewer that runs on the site, and they are going to investigate it to see who all connects and how they connect. That definitely is required on the revised plans. He also mentioned that Delcora would like to have a larger easement, so that would need to be reflected on the revised plans.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
A
that.
larger or wider sanitary sewer easement because it's apparently quite deep. So, because the property is going to require easements and there are 2 existing properties and there's a easement for an adjacent property. We recommend that a lot consolidation and subdivision plan be set aside by a licensed surveyor and be part of the overall land development package so that it could be recorded separately, identify all the ultimate right-of-way easements, the sanitary sewer easement, the access easement, and clearly show that the existing parcel is to be eliminated. The issue on the stormwater, Paul, can you go to the aerial?
Yeah, the bird's eye view?
Yeah, the very overview. So this is actually in the Stony Creek, right to the east of there. You can see some dark lines between, right there. Yep, that's the Stony Creek. And it goes underground and is encapsulated and heads kind of in a southeast direction underneath West 15th Street. The first inlet that runoff from the site would get to would be a inlet above the Stony Creek on 15th Street. So if you can move your cursor down to West 15th Street, right about there, that's the very first inlet. There's no other stormwater facilities any closer to the site. So we're really concerned about stormwater management. Part of the site heads east. Part of the site in its current condition heads to Keystone Road. So we're looking for a lot of revisions to the stormwater management plan. There was infiltration testing that was done by one consultant that isn't aligned with the proposed stormwater infiltration basins. That needs to be corrected. How they deal with pre versus post has to be cleaned up. They're proposing to discharge to Keystone Road with their overflow, which would continue runoff down Keystone Road along the gutter line. So they're not proposing any improvements. In a perfect world, we'd love them to see extend sanitary sewers from the creek, Stony Creek, west along 15th Street and north along Keystone Road. We ask them to evaluate that. And certainly the sanitary sewer has to be resolved. So unless you have any specific questions, we would recommend that they revise the plans, revise their stormwater management, and resubmit.
Any questions?
Would you be able to address,
No,
you allowed,
no, you're allowed to come back up. Yeah.
You're allowed.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good stuff. I have no problem with what Mr. We're not going to run a new stormwater line down to Township Line Road. It's completely out of the question. We did do significant stormwater recharge per our calculations on the site. We took 3 percolation tests using Earth Engineering. We got absolutely no percolation at 2 of them whatsoever. So we designed the system to the 3rd where we got percolation. We do match, I believe, the city's stormwater ordinance as far as groundwater recharge and percolation. We do have a discharge with a level spreader for anything that can't be handled by the larger storm events, but that's also within the ordinance. There's a ton of water that already comes off this site. We're doing the first management ever of this site. Right now, there is no stormwater management on this site. So we believe what we're doing is going to be a significant improvement. You're absolutely right. We need to get make sure we have Delcora has offered to. I'm surprised how quickly they were very responsive. They're going to televise that line for us at the end of this week. So they're actually going to get out there and televise it. The gentleman's really right on his game. Ted Dewald, he's just a great guy, it seems. And back in 2019, we first looked at the site when there was a different city engineer, of course, and that was Mike Galante. A lot of you remember Michael. And Michael had done some research and concluded it was indeed a Delcora line that was run up and stops on our site because I think it was designed to serve our site. It runs at a 45-degree angle through all the sites. So we're going to confirm we are the end of the line. It doesn't keep going. I don't think it goes to Upper Chichester. And find out what condition it's in. It might need improvements. He said he thought it was pretty deep. So that's all I have because we could not get the manhole lid off it. We're anticipating tying into it. We have no problem with granting a wider easement. It doesn't affect us. And he had another request, which is fine, which is called a blanket easement, to get him from Keystone to the beginning of the manhole. Because right now, the manhole ends in the middle of our site. So we'll take care of the blanket easement. That's easy. No issue with reverse subdividing the lots. That's simple. I can move the dumpster anywhere. I'll take a look at your suggestions, see if we can come up with location for it, and get it off top of the line. Understood. Fair enough. I just think we've done a decent job on our stormwater. We certainly need to tie into that sanitary sewer. I'll tell you what, if that sanitary sewer line is for some reason not available to us, the lot's dead, the project died. So we're hoping Delcora is right, and Mike Galante was right, that it really is a Delcora line that was designed for access to our site. Why else would you run a line up and stop it with a manhole in the middle of our site? Sounds like it's pretty much a reason there. That's really basically my response comments. So we have no issue working with any of the comments from the city engineering consultant. There you go.
All right, thank you.
I'll still be back here.
Any other questions?
Are you finished? Were you finished?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
I do. I have one. In reference to the fact that you're gonna have the new cars, whatever, back and forth, so they'll be prepped for delivery. Are you doing car washing also there, or would you be doing that up at your main?
Yeah, we intend to only use cars. So the new cars come in, they're relatively clean generally, and then they just go, because they're going to be on the lot anyway, and then they'll get detailed before delivery. But used cars need to be fully detailed,
Right.
and we intend to have a couple of bays there that will accommodate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions at this time? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
You got one?
And I just have one more question about the parcel. Do we know definitively about that parcel? Is it, I mean, you alluded to it, and I just need some clarification.
It's owned 100% by Mr. Keller. It is on, by Mr. Pagano, forgive me. It is on two separate folios, but it's one deed. They bought the entire piece of land. So the
Okay.
deed we got back is one piece of land.
Okay.
And the deed refers to a reverse subdivision plan by which these two should have been combined and their
Right.
folio number reduced to one. And that is hopefully something we can work out with the county assessor's office and turn it into one folio number.
Right, okay, okay. I didn't want that to be a problem later on coming down the line.
It's an important point.
Right.
It looks like someone didn't record something 12 years ago. That's what we believe we saw. So we need to clean up that record, and
Right.
that's a will comply. We have to clean up the record. We want to make sure we have one unified parcel under the same deed we already own.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. All right. All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval with conditions to City Council for the preliminary final land development application for 0 Keystone Road, proposing the redevelopment of the site into a vehicle storage and repair facility.
Shirley, before we proceed, if you're want to approve, we would need the waivers in front of us first, just like that last
Right.
project, which we don't have a written copy. Wasn't able to share them with you, and make copies for you. And really, they should be part of the application.
Have you reviewed the waiver? The engineer?
No, ma'am. It would be my recommendation as the city's consultant engineer to table the matter
I just
and
wanted to
resubmit.
ask that one question, that was
Right.
it.
There was a email this morning, I was already on the road, handing out something now after the application deadline was 3 weeks ago. I don't recommend you accept it.
Can I ask you a question before you
Yep,
start?
yep.
There's a date in here, is this a correct date? Is this date correct? Or is it based on this?
It's based on that.
Then this is incorrect. All right, that's incorrect, so. That April 30th date is incorrect. So we can't.
Well, you could,
I know, but
it's
amended.
not in here either, so.
I need to ask you another question.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the next review date?
Would be our next meeting, assuming they come back with improvements, June 10th.
Because we don't have those dates, we can't move forward.
It's the city engineer's recommendation that you do it now. You could take, it's up to you, it's totally up to you.
So you recommend this, well, I have to come back. Well, you know,
Okay. Ready for your motion?
Okay. I move that the Planning Commission table the preliminary final land development application for 0 Keystone Road based on the following findings. 1, outstanding items identified in the Collier's Engineering and Design Review Letter dated April 30th, 2026.
It'd be May 7th.
So that should be May.
May 7th,
May 7th.
So correction is May 30th,
or May 7th.
May 7th.
Yep.
May 7th. Letter dated May 7th, 2026, including but not limited to fire access, stormwater design, utility coordination, and site layout details require further resolution. 2, required materials and approvals, including fire marshal review, NP DES permitting, and supporting utility and sewage planning documentation have not yet been provided. 3, additional revisions are needed to demonstrate compliance with the subdivision and land development ordinance prior to consideration of approval.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Susan Dennis,
Yes.
Leola Williams.
Yes.
Eartha Banks.
Yes.
Charlene Laws,
Yes.
Annette Pyatt.
abstain. I'm abstaining from that.
Motion carries.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So I get to come back.
Yes, yes,
Unfortunately. Have a good evening.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye. It's a long meeting.
I don't have problem.
More free cards next time.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Okay. Last review item is a sketch plan. Title is 413 to 423 Rose Street. Again, we don't need to make a decision on this today. This is a sketch plan, it's for discussion, and it's basically an introduction of the project. So if you're familiar with Rose Street, this is in the R3 medium density residential district. It's mostly surrounded by row homes, twins, and there's a local church nearby. The applicant is 427 Rose LLC, and the proposal is to consolidation and re-subdivision of 7 existing parcels into 6 new parcels and development of townhouses on each of the new parcels. Off-street parking for the new homes is proposed via Doran Street, which is really an alley behind Rose Street. Here's reference. Although I've got the right cursor on the thing here. So it's right in the middle of the R3 district on the east side. Here's, just for reference, Avenue of the States, Edgemont Avenue. Here's the senior apartments. So you're a few blocks off Madison Street, or a couple blocks, I should say. Here is a bird's eye view. This is actually looking south, so you'd be looking towards the river, but chose this view because you can see the opening of the land here and the character. Obviously, there's some vacant lots here that should be infilled with housing, and that's really what the comprehensive plan is recommending as well. Street views of the site, again, vacant, sidewalks in disrepair, existing trees on site, and there's some improvements being made further down the street, which I'll get to in a second here, but here's the look back towards the west of the site. The applicant can correct me if I'm wrong, but the applicant has actually renovated the homes next to the proposed sites. He's the owner of these 2 buildings and has built them really back up from the ground. They were in terrible condition and has brought them back to life here. I do not believe they're occupied yet, but I could be wrong on that. Another thing for context is Doran Street. So again, it's an alley. It's really narrow, and it's one way due to its width, essentially. Someone could go both ways on it, but it is a dead end. And we can come back to this image, but I want to point out to you that if you can see my cursor, you can see the 7 lots that they're interested in consolidating and then re-subdividing. But Doran Street is here, and then it ends. And there's a private parcel by an owner that lives in Delaware or has an address in Delaware on a vacant lot that really abuts that ending.
Show the alley again, because I couldn't find it.
Could I show what again? I'm sorry?
The alley.
The alley. So can you follow my cursor right here?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
That is the alley, and it really almost disappears after the first parcel off of Upland Street.
So one way, one way?
I mean, if there was cars back there, people would probably share access to it, but that's kind of somewhat typical of our alleys.
I tried to find it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's really hidden, and you wouldn't know it, but that, like I said, it kind of dead ends before it hits brush, and it's almost an abandoned alley, if anything. I do have all the drawings that were provided to us. I think what I'd like to do is just point out that the 2 end parcels on the west side are currently owned by the Chester Redevelopment Authority. And I know the applicants have been in discussion with Chester Redevelopment Authority, and there's been some preliminary discussions on this proposal. And there's been some movement if this actually could be approved down the line as a preliminary final or final plan. There'd be a finalization of an agreement to pass those parcels to the applicant. But then again, it's all preliminary, and that's the purpose of this sketch plan process, is really just to introduce the project and see if it's viable. Here is the site plan for the project. Again, you see the 6 parcels that they've recreated on the 7. These are attached buildings. There's porches on the front, a new sidewalk, street trees being proposed, access to 2 parking spaces behind each unit. And again, they're showing the access from Doran Street to access these parking spaces. So again, if they leave, they've got to head towards Upland. They can't head towards Potter. Just a close-up, this really kind of just shows some of the layout of the first floor of the buildings, I believe. Here's other floor plans. I believe this is the third floor and the second floor. So actually, these units have kitchens on the second floor, 2 bedrooms on the third floor with 2 bathrooms, and then the first floor, which I think are depicted on this drawing, it's somewhat nondescript, and I'll come back to that in my letter, or my memo. And then finally, the last drawing that we received is actually, and this is helpful, an elevation drawing of the front and rear of the buildings. It's our understanding they do have front porches on them, which we would recommend, especially in this residential area, and which is commonplace. So if you don't mind, I'll get into my memo for this project. It's dated May 5th. I would jump down to section C and just indicating that this is an allowed use, the townhomes that is, or attached units is an allowed use in the R3. When you look at comment 2, the dimensional requirements, the proposal as is does meet the dimensional requirements, and that's for, of course, minimum lot area, minimum lot width, height, setbacks, building coverage, impervious surface coverage. Jumping down to comments 4 and 5, they relate together in a way. The applicant has shown that they are providing 2 off-street parking spaces, which is needed for a new residential unit, so they meet the minimums. But then we were just asking that the sketch plan, it does include maneuvering diagrams, but if they proceed to doing a preliminary or final plan, they should just provide further clarification on the proposed width and condition of Doran Street, because obviously it's in terrible condition or hardly exists. I'm going to jump down to D2 under general comments, and that really relates to the fire marshal's review of the site and the project. And one of their concerns were raised about the width and access of Doran Street, so that's critical to life safety and access, fire safety access. Just like we ask all our applicants, they ask for a fire truck turning template, and that would be especially for turning onto Doran Street. And you noticed how narrow it is to turn there to get into that alley. So we'd like to see an illustration of how that would work. And it would be up to the applicant to prove that the design is compliant with the IBC, that's the International Building Code, and fire code requirements, not only for emergency access provisions, but just all around compliance. Jumping back to my memo. I'm going to jump to comment 6 as a highlight. There was just a discrepancy on the width of the units. Of course, if we see a formal submission, we'd just like to have that clarified as the width of the units in entirety. And then comment 7 relates back to our concern about the layout of the building. Perhaps the applicant can explain a little bit more about the layout of the facilities, but right now it's a mystery to us a little bit why there are so many bathrooms and some of the labeling that is on the first floor, and what the function of that first floor would be. Otherwise, you can see in my summary statement that, housing is needed in this area. This type of housing actually works, attached multifamily, fits in with the neighborhood, fits in with the lots, just about. I mean, we need 7 lots to get 6 units, but that's not a surprise because our existing lots are so narrow in the city. And then just, a formal submission would just need additional review. But we thank the applicant for submitting the sketch plan, as we do all sketch plans. It is really helpful to see the concept put together, and helps us hopefully lead them to a more finite submittal on the formal submission. Yeah. Well, they're attached townhomes. Yeah, excuse me. So you're right. They're single-family homes attached. You're right. Thank you, Ken. So, and they meet our requirement. Just so you know, our regulations, you can have up to 10 units attached, which is pretty high for the municipality, but they're meeting that with 6. They meet those requirements. Is there any questions on the memo that I had?
I guess my question concerns the memo. Can you hear me? The one thing is the street, the alley, okay. Alley, my concern is a lot of Chester has the same problem. So would it make sense that the alley would go into a one-way? Because I don't see how you're gonna get it any way that a fire truck can get through correctly. So why not even suggest a one-way? You can address that later, but so I can get all 3 comments out then.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And the other concern I had was, are these going to be townhomes that are going to be owned or rented? And then my third is, I like all those bathrooms. I think it's terrible that most folks will only have a bathroom upstairs. I'm the only one on my block that has a downstairs bathroom. I think this is great, that you have a bathroom everywhere. I like it. So those are my 3 things.
Okay. And just to be clear, we're not against bathrooms. We just want clarification really on what the first floor activity will be.
Confused about the first
Yeah.
floor as well.
Yeah.
What's going on the first floor?
In the second comment, I would let the applicant let you know about the rental ownership scenario.
Okay.
They didn't indicate that in their application. And then the first comment is a good comment because I don't think I kind of brushed over it, and Ron probably was going to get to it, is that ideally Doran Street goes right through to Potter, and there's a way to accommodate that, whether it's through pursuing ownership of that parcel, because actually that parcel could create a through route if they bought that one parcel. That would be an ideal situation because it would solve most of the issues. Fire trucks probably could be made to get access in the back. The 2-way access would be, the access or the 1-way, whatever's decided, you'd have that versus a dead end, which would be a big
Can you
improvement.
got a site plan again?
Yeah. Well, the issue with the site plan too, and
Oh.
and Ron talks about this too in his letter, is that ideally on a formal submission, we'd have more clarity on the context. So we kind of know where the alley ends and where it would begin. The best thing I can give you is that aerial photograph here, which again is, I know,
But you saying
hard to see.
You saying the 1110 is a vacant lot?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes, right there. It's a vacant lot, same width almost of the alley right away. It seems like it would make a tremendous amount of sense if they could gain ownership of that and actually create an alleyway. Yeah. And it is odd because, the neighboring alley goes through, most of our alleys go through the block.
Small.
And narrow, yeah. In terrible condition too. And on, and on, and on, yeah. Yeah.
My question, well, maybe my question's for the applicant, are we?
Okay, that's fine. All right. Yeah, Dave.
I had a question on the kitchen on the second floor. I found that being a little odd.
Yeah.
Why
and
wouldn't it be on the first floor?
I think that's a good question for the applicant. I mean, yeah, I think that's some of the things
Yeah,
we'd like
but
some clarity on.
Nowadays, most of these townhomes are like that.
Yeah, I see a lot of them in DC are like that.
Well, a lot of them have parking on the first floor. You take your stairs up to the second floor, and then your third floor is your bedrooms, just like this one is.
It's
Yeah.
just weird how they label the first floor rooms. It's weird. That
Yeah.
was weird to me. I'm like, the
Right.
reception? What's the reception?
Right. And the way this works is, we react to what we see, give them an opportunity to explain,
Yeah.
and we go forward on that, so.
But that's the norm, you got the second floor where you eat, live, and then you go upstairs to another third floor to sleep. I mean, go to Brookhaven, Toby Farms. Some $1 million ones are like that too.
Yeah, they have a two-car park
Yeah.
garage underneath.
Some of them
Exactly.
don't, but they set up the same way.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready
Alright.
for the applicant.
Yeah, it'd be great if the applicant can come up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Good afternoon.
My name is Rachel DiDomenicus. I'm from Rad Environmental. I'm the applicant's engineer. The applicant was present with me. He did have to step out for a family emergency, but I believe I can answer almost all of your questions. Just a couple of things to highlight. First, we are, like Mr. Fritz said, we're taking 7 lots and bringing them into compliance, so converting them into 6 lots instead. 4 of the existing 7 lots are undersized, so that's the reasoning for changing it to 6. In terms of the architecturals, I know you guys just had a couple comments about those. Those are very preliminary. They need to be revised. We are not, I know the labeling on the first floor is a little strange. I believe that was like carryover from an old commercial design. So the first floor would be the main living space where your kitchen would be. And then, so that would be, you know, fixed in later submissions. And parking, again, in the back, I did speak to the applicant. He's very open to the idea of acquiring that property so that we could turn Doran Street into a pass-through.
Okay.
So that's something he'd be very interested in
Yeah,
pursuing.
that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
we agree.
So can you go back to what you just said about the
Sure.
first floor? So the first floor is gonna be the kitchen and the living area?
Yep, and then you'll have bedrooms.
Then the
on
second floor is going, so we're gonna have 4 bedrooms?
Good question.
Ideally.
Okay, not, okay, 2.
Will you have another bathroom up on that 3rd floor?
How many bathrooms?
I don't have an answer on that, but I believe the intention would be to have one on each floor.
So there'll be 4 bedroom units? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
My question was, the dumpster.
Yes.
Are they gonna use a dumpster, or are they gonna put the trash out front, or are they gonna put the trash in the alley? I mean, how are they gonna dispose of their trash?
In terms of trash, it would be individual per house, so there won't be like a community dumpster or anything like that. And the trash would be stored most likely behind the houses.
Okay, so you're gonna need that other access to get
For the trash.
the trash truck to get through
Right.
there.
Yeah.
That would depend, I mean, trash pickup would depend on what is occurring in the neighborhood right now.
Right there, yeah.
So I mean, if it's out the front, then there's
Right,
no
then
need
there'll
to
be need,
require them to do the rear.
They could wheel it out from the back, if
Yeah,
it's stored in
I
the
mean,
back.
Right, it would
to
just
the
be
front.
stored behind, so it's not in the front.
But it's,
It's in the front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you change it? Yeah.
yeah, right now it's almost, no.
No.
No. So they're trash, okay. So that's what I needed some clarification on, because it didn't make sense if you don't have that extra. But you still need that extra because emergency vehicles may have to come through there.
Right.
Okay, I'm good.
Who did you say owned those other 2 buildings? Because I did a
13,
drive-through. The ones that are being fixed now, that's not a part, that doesn't belong,
No, that's not
Okay.
that's not a part of this
that's
project.
just somebody else fixing.
But it is the same owner.
It's the
that-
same owner, yeah.
No,
the-
yeah, those 2, yes.
Yes, yeah,
I did a drive-by.
yeah,
So these will be similar in construction?
correct.
Although they'd be 3 stories, right?
Right,
Yeah,
one
2
floor
stories.
higher.
Yeah, and not twins. They would be
A row?
row homes, right?
But they
Townhomes.
would have the front porches and like have a similar look.
Okay.
And you said they will have porches? Like the
Yes.
one in this similar, you know, that's what I call a porch.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
Or a
something
stoop.
similar to that.
You're thinking-
No, I'm talking porch.
That's a
That's a
porch.
porch.
Right.
Right. And we typically recommend that. We typically recommend that, as Annette knows,
Yeah.
we recommend that for development, new development.
Yeah, people need to be able to sit out. So, the extra 4 inches, 18 feet, 4 inches came from the 7th house that you knocked down. That just gave everybody an extra.
I think it's just a drawing error
I was gonna
personally.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, because,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
all right,
It's just something we caught, and we just said we'd call it out.
all right.
I hope I remember, because I already read it, but I can ask you so I don't have to remember. You are dealing with the sidewalk and everything, right? Okay.
Correct, we'll be
I
repairing the
didn't remember.
sidewalk.
Okay. Okay, I'm good.
Anybody have any other questions?
Did you know the answer about rental versus ownership?
Oh, yeah.
That, unfortunately, I don't have an answer on.
Okay. All right.
Let's
thank-
pray for home ownership.
Yes, because there's better upkeep.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's ideally the city's objective is homeownership.
Okay.
I didn't know.
And housing is definitely needed in the city, so. So if no one has any more questions, we'll call Mr. Ron up. Thank you so much. Mhm.
I have one more. I have one more. Are you guys doing anything else in the city besides just this particular project?
Not that I'm involved in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Ron Madison, Colliers Engineering Design. We received the submission package dated April 13th, 2026. We provided our informal sketch plan review memo dated May 7th, 2026. Be happy to answer any questions. The biggest issue is the alleyway. They're proposing two-way traffic on a dead-end alleyway that's only wide enough for one vehicle. As Paul said in his comments, we strongly recommend the developer acquire the property on the far end of the block so that the alleyway can be improved to be a through alleyway from street to street and be signed for one-way direction only. We realize that the city has many alleyways that are of deficient width. In general, most of the city was laid out with a 15-foot wide right-of-way for an alley, and most of them are only paved 10-foot wide, and many of them have utility poles going down the right-of-way lines on both sides. Those utility poles are not friendly to fire trucks. It is hard for them to negotiate around some of these alleyways. But this would be the primary access for fire protection, and what they're proposing is to have their off-street parking use an alleyway that's deficient. Just because it exists in a lot of places in the city before the modern zoning and planning ordinances were placed doesn't mean we would ever recommend this board approve a plan that is unsafe. The current sketch is unsafe. They're proposing, head-on collisions. Unlikely, but it's an unsafe situation, more so for the fire protection. So it's a great reuse of vacant property. Obviously, residential structures are needed, but this is really a make-or-break issue from an engineering standpoint. So that's all I have, unless you have any specific
Well,
questions of our memo dated May 7th.
Well, just off the top of my head, if they were to put 5 there, would that give them enough room to widen that alley, or no? No?
Doesn't-
You-
No.
No, I mean, and some might say, well, we'll put a turnaround at this end of our property. The problem with it is that might work for a small vehicle, but not a fire truck.
No.
So would one way kind of solve it?
One-way signage and an ordinance after you make it a through alleyway block to block, yes. But
It's still gonna be tight for a fire truck, but it will make a better, throughway and access.
there may have to do some widening at either end of that alleyway.
At the end of
And they
it.
may have to restrict on-street parking at either end so that the fire truck has room to make the sweep. If you recall, with the Gracie Manor project, went to great lengths to make the fire truck turning movements work by restricting on-street parking in several key areas.
You mean Grace Manor project?
Yeah,
Yes.
Grace,
The new one?
Grace Man. Yeah.
Ah.
What did I
Yeah,
say?
I know
You
that
said
one all
Gracie,
too
it's
well.
fine.
Oh, Gracie, I'm sorry.
Inside joke.
So it would be kind of difficult. All right. Well, I hope that you've listened to the comments and you can take them back. We definitely need the housing, but we need to also make sure it's safe for any emergency vehicles that have to make, and maybe you can get some ideas on how to do that. All right, thank you so much for coming, bring your
Yep.
sketch plan.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right, how's our energy levels? Good? All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you,
One more
Leola.
thing, right?
Yeah.
You all right if we proceed?
Yeah, I just
All right.
I have to text my after-school, let them know what's happening.
I actually think we can do this quickly, the items that I have.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, okay. The first one being our saldo deadlines. I can give you a quick update. One, we just took care of the last one there on 0 East 4th Street, so the deadline doesn't matter. Although, we'll have to get this in front of council, obviously. And so they did provide us an extension until 6/10. That gives us 2 council meetings to get it on board, so that's doable. The other 2 that you're familiar with is 611, 619. We just reviewed a sketch plan last month on that. It's still being looked at as a formal submittal, so we asked the applicant to give us an extension, and we have one until the end of June. We may have to renew that in May, and I will let you know. Same thing with 3308 West 2nd Street. That's Brett Rowe project that we haven't seen in a while, but I do believe they'll be back soon because the one issue that they were being held up on a little bit was the PennDOT permitting. And I believe they have what we as a city needed to see to proceed. So I'm assuming we'll see that either next month. If it goes into July, we will ask for an extension. Okay, okay, thanks, Ron. Any questions on that? Oh, yeah. Do you want me to, I'll take a little break here. Okay.
Well, while we're taking a little break, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
We haven't had the buy rights in a while. Has there been none?
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about that, yeah. And we're actually redoing our reviews of that, so we will have those for you in the near future, yeah. We're trying to come up with a better reporting for it,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. I just, while we're here, and I just want to make sure you have in front of you, because this is the second thing on the agenda. It's really the last thing, because the third thing is just the notice of what the next meeting will be. You should have a red line version of the new version of the bylaws, and then a final one, which I'm hoping, as a group, we can adopt today. I'll give Leola a moment here, and then we can come to those red lines.
Well, I'm in non-compliance already. I missed 3 meetings.
But they
My
legitimate.
meetings, no, sometimes I can't.
That's Susan. She's got to come down hard on you then. So, yeah, yeah.
But they were legitimate.
They're
It's not like
legitimate.
they were-
Yeah.
That she was just
Yeah.
out.
They have to be literally excused, yeah. Right, right.
Well, at least it's without good cause. That's a difference.
Yeah.
Without good cause.
So what's without good cause?
Meaning you just don't show up.
Right.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll call.
No notice, don't show up, or even worse, tell us you're going to be there and don't
Yeah.
show up.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
worst case. You guys have never done that to us unless there was some emergency, so we're not worried about that. Yeah.
So we won't be.
Just remember, laws are for the worst of the worst. That's what it's
Yes,
for.
it
So
is.
we're not worried about that. Maybe just take a moment if you can and just look at the red lines, but I'll explain them. They're really simple. And the other point, and I should make this when Leo is here, is those comments are from Kyle, our city solicitor, reading these, because I told you the last time I hadn't had him review them yet. So these are based on the comments that he provided, which were helpful.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it makes sense instead of saying governing
body.
Right.
Yeah. Right, right,
Why
right. And part of that was borrowing from the template that we had
Okay.
and just, in fact, updating these so they're really relevant to the city. The other one actually relates to Dave because it brings in the one sentence about appointing alternates, which was actually not mentioned in here.
Where is that?
It's second paragraph, the first page. There's one sentence,
Oh, the
a new
membership.
second sentence in there.
Yeah, the membership.
Yeah, I thought that might be important.
Right. Remember, I asked.
So, instead of, oh, can I ask that now? or-
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of, like they say, 5 members, we used to have 7 or 8 of them.
In the old bylaws, it said 9 members.
That's
And I don't believe there's ever been 9 members on the planning commission in the city's
No,
history.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it used to be 7 or 8. I mean, when I first.
When you first started, yeah, but
I mean,
the
all-
bylaws said 9, and so again, this is more like an updating, and we kind of feel like,
Kind of difficult fitting 9 of us.
yeah, it would be, we'd have to build a whole new city hall, yeah, exactly. Right. So,
It's the planning commission, right?
yeah, and typically, in my experience, it is 5, there are some with 7, you need an odd number, of course. 3 is too less, it's not enough. So 5, it seems to be working. The alternate scenario, I think, is really beneficial. Someday we would like to get a second alternate. We'll get there. But I think 5 is a good standard. And again, bylaws, we can always amend them if we have to, but
At least
the
that's
whole
something
point of
on the
these was that our old bylaws were pretty dated, and they really actually didn't reference the MPC enough, as they probably should have.
No, and a lot of this stuff came up in that last training that we was doing.
And exactly. And
A lot more.
both Kim and I laughed because we were in the middle of updating them when they
Yeah, when they
mentioned
were
it.
talking about different
Yep.
things.
Yep. And it just, Leola, we were commenting on the redlined version of the bylaws.
Okay, so which one are you on now? Sorry.
Yeah, and I can
That's
give you a
right.
copy of here.
I
It's right
have
there.
it right here.
Yeah, okay, good. So the red lines are on top of the last draft that I gave you. And what I just told the group is Kyle had a chance to look at the bylaws and provided a couple comments which were really valid. One being that we should just change the wording government body to city council because that's really who we're responding to and addressing to. The second one was to make sure we had a sentence in here about appointing alternates, which we did not have. So, Leola, that's literally the second red line on here. It's a full sentence just talking about appointing alternates. And the third one, which I didn't talk about yet, was literally just deleting on page 2 a redundant sentence about minutes because it's actually it's in the sentence before it. Yep. So again, I think we've gone through these. I'm happy to take any questions. Kyle probably could take questions if you have any, but what I'd like to do ideally is just adopt these today, if you're comfortable with it.
Anybody have any questions? No. Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to accept the bylaws for Chester City Planning Commission?
I make a motion to accept the bylaws of Chester City Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But you gotta call a roll?
Yeah, roll
Yep.
call, please.
Susan Dennis,
Yes?
Leola Williams,
Yes.
Annette Pyatt,
Yes.
Eartha Banks, Charlene Laws.
Yes. Okay. Motion carries.
So, before you leave today,
Oh, before-
Eartha and Susan, let's have you sign a copy and
Right.
we'll be done with it. Okay. All right. And, I mean, the last thing is literally just a notification that our next meeting is June 10th. So it's kind of an early meeting. Second Wednesday of the month, June 10th.
Okay.
Be interested to see if we get that application back from David Dodge back,
Yeah.
which I probably will.
I would think so.
It is, today is May 13th. I think it may be May 22nd. Don't quote me on that, but we try to get it 3 to 4 weeks beforehand. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes there's a little bit of leeway if
Wait,
we've seen the
June
project
10th is
before.
when?
Yeah.
I think I may have to miss that one.
Oh, the June 10th one?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a possibility I have to attend county council. for my Grace Manor project.
Okay. It is the same, I think actually the June council meeting's at night.
It's at night, so it
Yeah.
might run this, well,
Oh, gosh, if it runs that
I
late.
hope not, no,
No,
it's
no,
at
no,
it's
no.
at night.
No.
There's
We'll let
that
you go
1
home for
o'clock.
dinner.
County council's 1 o'clock, right?
That one, that June one's at night, I think.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Oh.
county council.
Oh, county council, sorry,
They moved
sorry.
theirs up to 1 o'clock, their meetings now, instead of having them in the evening.
Oh,
Oh.
you mean it's not gonna be at night? Did they change that?
They changed it to 1
I got,
o'clock.
I mean,
So
I
check it
didn't,
and make sure.
I gotta go double check on that one,
Yeah,
but I
double
do,
check.
I know that's the date I may have to attend.
Okay, well, just
Okay.
let us know. We won't hold it
Okay.
against you.
Yeah.
All right, I suppose we have to do a motion to
Yes.
close, okay.
All right. So are we finished with all our discussions?
Yep, we are.
Okay. So can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I second.
We don't need a roll call for this, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is now 4:05, and the
Great.
meeting has been adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much.
And I have, I don't know, Net, you may have this, Housing Action Plan from,
State.
up in the state, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'll take it, buying the, I do have one.
Class, that online class, can you sign me for it?
Uh-huh.
anyone else interested, I got a response
There you
from
go.
Susan and Annette, and now, Ms. Bertha today, with the class. I sent her email.
Charlene?
about,
What day is the class? On the class,
I'm sorry, David, but,
20,
I'm sorry, I don't know
It was May 20th.
May 20th, next Wednesday.
It's at night, though.
It's in the evening, the 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
just let me know, because we're gonna pay for what I got.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a different story. So when is 6:30?
6:30 to 8.
You be where?
Rowing practice,
Oh,
Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday morning, so.
Take your water bottle with you. You can put me down.
You want me to go down, put me down?
I don't think you heard.
So,
So I guess everybody now. All right, there you go.
I marked on yours, so I'll give you my copy back. You hear me? I marked on all the documents, so I'll give you my copy back. What? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
The other guys.
They're not over here. They're not behind.
Yeah. I got to go.
That's from, I was in Happiton, so I picked it up from them when I saw it. I said, oh, let me take this back,
Oh,
because
okay,
everybody
this is
uses,
good.
this is,
Yeah.
this is the one for your office in case you don't have one. Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Turn your heaters off.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
Uh-huh. Yeah, make sure you get it.
Okay, have a good
All right, everybody have a good one. Thank you.
I don't know who chairs got moved, but
everybody's did today, but they'll figure it out.
they'll figure it out. I moved this one from over here, because it's too long.
I can never
they got
understand
it,
why
they
they
tell
can't.
you right away. Just like I'm trying to get
There has to be somebody who just cannot climb in this building.
But when I call them, they're like, I'm
Yes.
ready to go to bed.
Oh, most definitely.
Tell them, come in.
So there is-
What they make now is junk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what
And
they
they'll
need
tell
to
you,
do
I'm gonna
is
tell you in
find
a
out,
minute.
you know, what's,
I ran into the same problem today.
yeah, I'm just trying to get that. And I like when,
No longer. You speak so slow.
understand completely. And that's what you want to do. Yes, yes, yes. I understand, I understand. Oh. Okay, okay.
You
Mr.
go ahead.
Fritz. Oh. I want to ask about my favorite spot.
So we gotta make a
'cause now it looks like, now I gotta go there and help my student do a science fair project.
Oh, good. Yeah, next time. I saw the article that they had.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right, you do the same, thank you.
Something mechanism.
Did you want your, that water bottle? You finished your water? Oh,
I drank all mine.
okay.
Something
okay.
mechanism.
leave any trash. No.
Something mechanism.
What grade?
She's in, seventh grade, no, sixth grade. So, it was about the next prototype, but the last part was mechanisms. It was functioning, some, it sounded mechanical.
Yes.
I said, I don't know. I said, well, I don't know either.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
When we dug into, the one we're gonna use with her is what the body does, what mechanisms it uses to compensate for things, like if you overheat,